Once upon a time, in the heart of a small, bustling town surrounded by green hills and flowing rivers, there lived a barber named Ezekiel. He was admired by everyone, young and old, for his unmatched skill with the scissors. His shop, Ezekiel's Shears, was the go-to place for fresh haircuts and friendly chatter. Ezekiel had a way of making people feel at ease. His laughter filled the air, and his kind words were enough to brighten anyone's day. "Your hands are magical," customers would say, leaving his shop with smiles and stylish cuts. But behind Ezekiel's charm and skill lay a dark, hidden secret, one that would soon shake the entire town. At first, no one questioned Ezekiel's sudden success. He had always been talented, so it wasn't surprising when his shop became the busiest in town. Soon, however, his wealth grew beyond what anyone could imagine. He began buying large plots of land, building a grand house, and even driving a shiny new car, a luxury no one else in the town could afford. People marveled at his fortune, whispering to each other, "Ezekiel must be incredibly lucky." But there was something unsettling about his riches. His shop remained simple, with no extra charges for his services. How does he make so much money, some wondered. But the barber's smile and cheerful nature silenced any doubts. Strange things began happening to some of Ezekiel's customers. A wealthy merchant who regularly visited Ezekiel's shop suddenly lost all his money in a failed business deal. A young bride-to-be fell gravely ill just days after her haircut. Samuel, a young man starting his dream business, mysteriously went bankrupt weeks after a visit to Ezekiel's shop. At first, the townsfolk brushed it off as bad luck. But the frequency of these misfortunes grew, and whispers of suspicion began to spread. Could it be a coincidence? They asked. One man even joked, maybe Ezekiel's scissors are cursed. But for Toby, a sharp-eyed young man in the town, it was no laughing matter. His own sister, Bola, had visited Ezekiel's shop a month before falling ill. She hadn't been the same since, and the doctors couldn't explain her condition. Toby's gut told him there was more to the story. Unknown to everyone, Ezekiel's wealth didn't come from his barbershop alone. Late at night, when the streets were quiet and the town was asleep, Ezekiel would retreat to a hidden chamber behind his shop. The room was dark, filled with strange objects, animal bones, clay pots, and a red-stained altar. Here Ezekiel performed sinister rituals. He collected the hair from his customers, believing it held a piece of their essence. Offering this hair to a dark spirit, he prayed for unimaginable wealth and power. The spirit demanded more and more sacrifices. Each ritual required hair from different people, especially those who were healthy, prosperous, or full of potential. And each time Ezekiel performed the ritual, he grew richer, but at a terrible cost to his victims. Toby couldn't ignore the strange pattern. Determined to uncover the truth, he visited Mama Iridi, an elderly woman known for her wisdom and spiritual insight. Mama Iridi listened to Toby's story and nodded gravely. "Ezekiel's wealth is not natural," she said. "I have sensed a dark energy around him for some time, but to prove it we must be clever." Together, they devised a plan. Mama Iridi suggested sending someone to Ezekiel's shop, a volunteer who would secretly gather evidence. Toby recruited a young man named Sola, who agreed to pose as an unsuspecting customer. Sola visited Ezekiel's shop the next day, pretending to be a regular customer. He carried a hidden recording device, carefully tucked into his shirt. Ezekiel greeted him warmly, as he did all his customers, and began cutting his hair. Later that night, Ezekiel performed his usual ritual, completely unaware that his actions were being recorded. The recording captured every chilling detail: his chants, the eerie glow of the altar, and his horrifying confession to the spirit. The next morning, Toby and Mama Iridi gathered the townsfolk in the market square. With everyone watching, Toby played the recording. Gasps filled the air as the crowd heard Ezekiel's voice calling on the spirit, confessing his greed and his use of the hair for rituals. When Ezekiel saw the angry crowd outside his shop, he tried to flee. But the people caught him and dragged him to the elders. Confronted with the evidence, Ezekiel broke down and confessed everything. He admitted how he had been sacrificing the hair of his customers to gain wealth. The elders handed Ezekiel over to the authorities. The court found him guilty of his crimes, and he was sentenced to death. His wealth was confiscated and used to help the victims of his rituals. The barbershop was shut down, and Mama Iridi led a powerful cleansing ceremony to rid the site of any lingering dark energy. Ezekiel's downfall taught the town several important lessons. 1. Greed leads to ruin. Ezekiel's insatiable greed for wealth brought destruction to himself and others. 2. Justice will always prevail, no matter how well hidden. Wrongdoing will eventually be exposed. Ezekiel's story became a warning passed down through generations. The townsfolk learned to value honesty, hard work, and the power of standing together against evil. From that day on, they remained vigilant, never forgetting the barber who lost his soul to greed. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more interesting stories